everybody. Welcome to Patrick's Puzzle Clue number 2. I am so excited. When this clue is over, we will be halfway done. I can't believe it. I have paper piecing for you to do today for this week. I don't want to say it's easy because some people say, you know, paper piecing, I tried it and it's not easy. But I want to see if I can show you the way I do it and make it easy for you then. We'll see. It doesn't hurt to try, so I really hope that you'll give it a try, and I am so excited. So let's get started. If you don't have the paper printed out yet, you can go to my blog. It's down in the description. The templates are on the blog. You'll need to download those and print them out. And you want to make sure that you print them out actual size. They're going to look like this. Here's one of them. See, they're nice big pieces. So it's going to be a lot of fun. And there's some others too. So, whoop, you see that? Okay. So anyway, one of the things when you print out the templates, on the first page of the templates, the A piece that we're going to do, there's a little square here. It's a registration square, and it's a 1-inch square. Make sure when you print out your templates that you measure that and make sure it's 1 inch. And then once you got that, then you can print the number of copies that you need. You know, don't go print all these copies and then, oh no, the size is wrong. So if you actually set your settings to print actual size, it should print out correctly. Okay. You can give me a shout on the Facebook group if it doesn't, and we will try to work through why. But anyway, the pieces that I have in the instructions that are on the website, the pieces that I have to cut out, and I'll go over that in a minute when we're cutting, are all, I did the dimensions of the pieces so that they would be easy for you to put in where they go. Okay. So you don't have to use, you know, pieces of scraps and things like you do with normal foundation piecing. You're trying to put pieces where you can fit them and whatever. So you'll when you cut the fabric out for these, you will have all the pieces you need to do these papers all the way through. Okay. So let's go over to the cutting board and I'll show you the cutting of it, and then we'll come back over here and I will show you how to sew it all together. So let's go over here, and I think I fixed my echo problem on the cutting board. I'm so sorry about that in the other videos, but I'm learning as I go. So here we go. There's a cutting board, and there's no cat on it. Amazing. Okay. So here we go. We have, yep, that's right side up and everything. How about that? You're going to have a template A. And then you're going to have, whoops, it's upside down, a B, okay, A and B, and then you're going to be doing D, all right? And I went and printed out, after I knew that it was the right size, I printed out the number of each one that I needed, and you can find that in the directions. So that's the papers that I'm going to be using. These papers are not, okay, like this is typing paper, right? Regular printer paper. This is newsprint paper. It's thinner, and so it tears off easier. That is what you want for your template paper. What I did is I printed my clue onto the typing paper, you know, the regular printer paper. And then I measured it and made sure it was right. So then I had one that I could copy multiple times, and then I have it saved for whenever I want to do it again. All right, so the cutting. So we're going to cut 8 2 by 8 inch strips of each color that we did before. Now, this is what you should have had after clue 1. You should have a set with the corners on it, right? And the two pieces together like this. That's after clue 1. That's clue 1 on every color. So after this one that we do today, you're going to have those two things, which are these two here. okay? And then you're also going to have this piece. This has the paper on the back, see? Right? And this piece. And this piece. All right, these are the three pieces that we're doing, A, B, and D. Okay, so we're going to cut our strips. Let me get the fabric I want to use next. Okay, and my ruler. Okay, now one thing I did want to mention is, unlike when you're cutting for traditional piecing, these pieces do not have to be perfect, because you just need the width for the paper piecing. I'll explain that later. Like it says 2 by 8 inch strips, right? So I don't know if you can see that on my ruler, but that's 2 inches wide. But it's not straight over here. The edge of my fabric kind of goes like this, about 1/8 of an inch both directions, whatever. As long as I've got that 2 inch in there, I'm good. So we're gonna do the 2 inch there, okay? And then we're just gonna cut 8 inch pieces off of this. So I want to make sure they're lined up on the end here. And this will make sense after we do the piecing part, okay? And then I just want to take and cut 8 inch, off the edge like that. Now, they can be longer than 8 inch, but for this pattern, don't do them shorter than 8 inches, okay? So 8 inches, and I cut 2 strips at a time. So now I've got 2 by 8 inch strips, okay? So I need 8 of those. So there's 2. There's 4. And we'll put those over there for later. Save your scraps. You'll need them in future clues, I believe. Okay, that's not quite 2 inches. I'll show you. It's about 1 1/4 inches there, so that's not going to cut it. So we're going to put that one over there with the scraps. And then we're going to cut 2 more strips. Now it's straight because I did that cut. So, but you don't have to be super accurate with this because we're going to trim it off anyway when we do the paper piecing. So there's one, and I'll cut the other one. Okay. And then I'll put these end to end, put that one aside. Okay, I'm going to put these. All I'm doing is just the rotary cutting right now. Most of you know how to do this. If you don't, you can watch this over again and see what I'm doing. 8 inches right there. There's a glare. Whoa. Oh no, don't do that. Love technology. Okay. I don't think I'll do that again. Okay. 8 inches, there's 2 more. And 2 more here. Roughly 8 inches. Okay, there's my 2 by 8 inch strips of the orange. 4 3.5 by 9 strips of the background fabric. Okay. So, put this over here. That's triangle. Okay, this one. Okay, I have found that for the background, that's not flipping around, is it? It is. Oh, stop doing that. Don't do that. Oh. Hold on, people. Sorry. Stay. That's the fun part about live. Okay. I have found with my background that I can cut the 8 inch because we need 9 inch. 4 3.5 by 9. So this is an 8.5 inch ruler, so I'm going out about a 1/2 inch more. And I'm going to cut here like that. All right. So I cut the width, and then this is folded in half. So then I'm going to cut the 3.5 this way. It's just a little faster to do this. And these are the same way. You don't have to be super accurate, 3.5. This is like 3 3/4. It doesn't matter as long as it's not less. This one will be 3.5 because I can cut it on the line. Okay, you need, that's for one, this will be for another. One. I'll cut this one while I'm here. You get the idea. Okay. So this is my orange that we're doing, right? Okay. So this is clue 1, right? Clue 2, here's my strips of color, my 4 strips of 3.5 by 9. And then we need one, excuse me, oh, those go here. One 10-inch square, okay? And the 10-inch square you're going to cut diagonally from corner to corner. Don't move it. And then you're going to go over here. Ooh. And you're going to cut corner to corner. Again, it's not super important that you're accurate with this. We're just getting the pieces that we need. So I need 4 triangles per color. There's 4 for that color, and here's 4 I'll set aside for the next. Whoops. For the next. Okay. So we have all of our pieces. We have our paper, and we're going to go back over and sew. Here we go. All right. You know, you just never know with live what's going to happen. Ha! Here we are. Okay. Okay, so you can see we're going to need 2 of each template for each color. So there's 2 of D. I'll set these aside. 2 of B. And 2 of A. Somebody mentioned yesterday to me that you could use gift wrap paper if you cut it to 8.5 by 11 and put it through your printer. I don't know. I haven't tried it, but it certainly is thinner than typing paper, so it might work. Okay. So what you want to do here is you want to cut off the extra paper because it's just going to be in the way. So I do them 2 at a time. These are my 2A pieces. Okay. And you definitely need a garbage can nearby because you're going to have lots of scrap stuff. Okay. Okay. Here's my 2B pieces. Cut off this excess. And my 2D pieces. All right, we got those trimmed down. Now, let me explain to you how the colors are going to go in the background, and then we'll walk through each one. Okay. Your background is going to be your wider sections. So this wide piece here, the wide piece here, the triangle, that's where your triangles go. Okay. And that triangle right there, that's all background. The narrow strips, they're all the same size. Those are going to be your color. All right. So let's start with D. Now, if you have never done paper piecing before, here's a tip for you. First of all, you only want one of these at a time. Okay. Here's a tip. Fold, lay it face down. Fold the paper back on the line on this side of the number 1. See that D1? And on this side of D1. And the reason I'm doing that on the first one is so I can see these two lines right here, these fold lines? Right. So I can see where to put my fabric. All right. So that's going to be background fabric. That's that wide piece. Okay. So we're going to lay this face down. And we're going to use our trusty little glue stick. We're going to put glue between these two fold lines. Okay, not a whole lot. You only want it to hold just so you don't have to pin it, but you don't want it to hold like, because it's not going to come off. You don't want to do that. And then you want to take your piece of fabric and you want to lay it where it's laying over the edges of the fold lines that you made. One other thing is that this bottom straight edge right here, that's where you want to line up your piece first. There and over the sides of the folds, okay, that you made, and stick it down. Now, see, it's on the other side like that. It's face up. So they're wrong sides together, basically. Okay? Now, you want to identify the next piece, which is D2, right here. Okay? So I'm going to lay this down. Sorry. I'm going to lay this down, fabric down. I'm going to fold back on that same fold line, but I'm folding the other direction. And my fabric should be sticking out a little bit. And see that? Okay. And then I'm going to cut off 1/4 of an inch to make my seam allowance. Now, I use these little rulers. They're awesome. But you can use any ruler as long as you get your 1/4 of an inch. This has a little lip thingy on it so you can catch it on the paper, and it gives you 1/4 of an inch. So you're going to cut that 1/4 of an inch seam allowance there. Now when you do that, you can fold this back out and you can flip it over, and you got this nice super straight edge that you're going to line up your color strip with. All right, so take one of your pieces of color that you cut. I'm using batiks. There's really no right or wrong side here. And on that edge that you just cut, you want to lay your color fabric face to face with your background fabric, lining up the edge here. Okay. Now, after you do that, you're going to flip it over and you're going to sew on the line that you folded. That's it. It's that simple. So I know you're going, oh, that doesn't sound simple. The only thing you want to be careful of is that you make sure you line it up down here at that, remember that straight edge I told you about? Because over here you have this pointed edge. And what you don't want to do is you don't want to go too far up this way and line it up, because then you won't be you won't have your fabric here, right? It won't be. So if you keep everything lined up down here, then everything else up here on that angle will get cut off, and that's fine. Okay, so we line it up on this edge, flip it over, and then we sew on that line that we folded. And don't worry, I'm going to do this several times so you can see just what happens. Okay, I'm going to sew on that line all the way down. Okay. And it does not matter if you go over. In fact, it is actually better sometimes to go over the line. No big deal. All right, so I stitched on it. It's not coming off. Then I'm going to fold that out, and then I'm going to press it. Now, you don't want to run to the iron every time you do this, so you want something. I use this tool, but you could use anything. You can use a ruler for that matter. And you just want to finger press or just push it down. Try not to stretch the fabric, but you do want to make that crease right there. See? Just like that. Okay? Now, then you did 1 and 2, so you want to do 3. So you put it with the fabric face down and the pattern face up. Then you want to fold it back on this fold line, the one you did originally over here. Same process. Take your ruler, cut it to a straight 1/4 of an inch. Hey, Reba! Yay! I'm so glad you're here and watching. Let me know if I'm missing anything or if you have any questions, okay? Okay, so you fold it back out this way, and then you get your nice straight edge. So then you take your next strip of color, put it along the edge. You want to line it up down here on that straight edge back there. Flip it over and sew on the line. Okay, so it looks like that. Then you want to fold that out and finger press that out. That piece is done. So you do them all the exact same way, and then at the very end we're going to cut off this excess out here. Okay, so let's do one of each of the other ones, and then we'll go cut them. I think you should be able to get the idea by then. If you are watching right now and you have any questions, please let me know. Okay, let's see. So this one is A1 and A2. So put the, let's see, what is A1? A1 is a color strip. All right. So, and remember, you can do this the same way. You can fold it on that line so you know where to go with your fabric, right? So there's our fold line, right? It's right there. This is going to be our strip of color. And this is our straight edge that we're going to use to make sure everything lines up. So we're going to lay it down. We're going to put the glue on this side of the strip. And then don't go anywhere. Okay. And then this is the straight edge down here that I'm lining it up on. I want to make sure I overlap that overlap that fold line. You don't want to move the color too far down this way over the fold line and get it out of this line right here, because that's the outer edge of the block, and you don't want to cut that off. You don't want to have it too low like this. You know, you don't want to go because the line to cut is up here and you'll be missing fabric and you'll be like really upset. So you go like right there, two. All right, lay the fabric face down, pattern face up, fold back on that fold line. And that looks like it's already pretty much 1/4 inch, so I'm not even going to cut that. So flip it back over. Now this is where I take one of my triangles, right? And what you want to do with these is, this is my straight edge that I'm lining things up on, and I want to lay it out like it would look if it was sewn together, which is like that. And then I want to take it and flip it straight over like that and line it up on the edge. And then I'm going to stitch on the line. Pick the whole thing up, put it over here, and stitch. Okay, so that way I can lay this back and it covers the whole piece. Finger press this down. Now on this one, be careful when you're finger pressing, because this is bias, and I'm going to show you, just for those who don't know what bias is. It's important to know when you're sewing. These are cut, these rectangles, they're cut on straight of grain, so they don't stretch. Straight of grain is lengthwise and widthwise on the fabric. All right, they don't stretch. This triangle was cut on straight of grain when I cut it into a square, but then when I cut across the square, that's the diagonal of the fabric, and that's bias, and it really stretches, okay? Really stretches. So that's one thing that's really good about paper piecing, is that you don't really have to worry about bias, because you're stitching it on the paper. You're not trying to feed it through and stretching one piece longer than the other. That's a nightmare. So this way you don't have to worry about that. The bias is contained and you're not dealing with it at all. So there you go. Now on these, one other tip for this clue is you want to take your glue stick again and just right here at the tip, put a little bit and fold this out where it's flat. That will really help when we go to cut the excess off the edges. Okay, and that one's done. That's A. All right, and the last one, these go really fast, so I'll put this over here. All right, and the last one is B. B1 is in the middle, and it is color. See, it's that narrow strip, right? So we're going to fold back this way so we can see the line. We're going to fold back on both lines so we can see what we're doing. Okay. All right. So that's where it's going to go, the color strip, right? And because this is an angle out here, we're going to use this edge to line it up straight on this. There's where the edge of the block is, right there. So we'll put some glue here. Take our color strip. Make sure it overlaps both folds and lines up down here on this straight edge. And it's okay if you go a little bit off to one side or the other and you have less than 1/4 inch. As long as you've got some sticking over, you're going to be fine. Okay, we lay the fabric face down, the pattern face up. We're going to fold back on that same fold line, folding the other direction, right? Make sure I've got enough. Yeah, I do. Okay. Okay, so this one I'm going to cut off a little bit. So I'll get my ruler and hook it on the edge of that paper. cut that off. Okay. And this calls for a straight piece first. So we're going to line up the straight piece right here. Flip it over and stitch on the line. You can make like a song. Flip it over and stitch on the line. Okay. All right. So we're going to lay this back. And then the next piece is this top triangle piece. So first thing we want to do is check our seam allowance. So we're going to fold it back on the fold line. And I've already got that not bad, so we're going to leave it like that. Okay, so then we want to flip it back over. We want to take our triangle. I'll just use this one. Put it where it would go if it was finished, right? Make sure it's covering everything. I'm going to flip it straight down. There, like that. And we're going to sew. If you get concerned about it staying together, which they tend to stick together, the fabrics, so it's really not a problem. But if you're concerned, just put a pin in, like out here somewhere, to hold it all together. Okay. Yeah, so we flip this over. Okay, and this is one of those triangles, so we're going to put some glue out here on the tip to keep it straight when we cut it. There, lovely. Okay, so now we can go back over and where do you get the ruler? This ruler? You can look in the description below on this video, and there's a link to it. It is like an awesome ruler. I did paper piecing for years without this ruler. I did it with just a regular ruler and did 1/4 inch. And I just came upon this, and they're awesome. They're just really awesome. There's 2 of them, 2 different sizes. Yeah, they're really, really cool. So I highly recommend them. And there's a link to the paper that I use down there and other stuff. So I don't need that. All right, let's go cut these. Let's see what we did. Let's see. You don't need to watch me walk over there. There we go. Okay. Now hopefully this thing won't jump around anymore. It's probably way out of focus again. Who knows? Okay. So now I'm going to use this cutting mat, which is also an awesome invention, especially for this kind of thing. So you want to lay your pieces face down with the pattern facing up, and you want to, there's 2 lines here. There's this line that's solid is going to be your sewing line when you sew this to another piece. This dotted line out here is the line you're going to cut on, and they should be 1/4 inch apart. So you want to cut on that dotted line. Okay, and this is what's so cool about this. Aha, check it out. This is the magic of paper piecing right here. When you cut the edges off and you flip it over and you see what you actually created, it's so cool. It's my favorite part. Okay. And then there's some little tabby things here. That one, this one. Okay. And then you go, oh, look at that. Isn't that perfect? Isn't that awesome? It's so clean and crisp. Okay. You want to have one of these handy for the little tippy things, or some tape or whatever. And on to the next one. Face down. And we'll cut it on the dotted line. It's really a lot like paint by number. You start with number 1 on your pattern and you just work your way out. You just follow the numbers. Now, unlike when we were cutting earlier in the video, this does need to be accurate. So make sure you're cutting this as precise as possible. Okay, voila. Isn't that pretty? And then this one. And this is why I said to glue this tip, because when you are cutting these sides, it tends to shift left and right. So if you have it glued down, you know you're getting an accurate cut. I tried some other rotating mats, and well, I'm allergic to latex, so one of them I couldn't use. It was so bad. I had to I was like, oh, I gotta put gloves on to send that back. It was so bad. The latex was bad, but I don't know. I really like this one. Whoops, I was gonna cut that in the wrong place. So yeah. So this is why you glue that tip down. Because this way it doesn't move. There you go. So those are our 3 pieces, and we want to do that twice for each color, and there are 8 colors. So that is clue 2. Let me know if you have any questions. You can ask them on the Facebook group, or ask them on my blog in the comments, or ask them here if you're watching. Yeah. So I think that's it. I'm so excited. What else did I want to tell you? Be sure, oh, yeah. Don't be real concerned about running out of color, because you won't, I don't think. I have calculated and recalculated a billion times, and hopefully we're good. So yeah, I am so excited that you guys are watching. I can see that there's a few people watching, and I am thrilled. So next week is clue 3. There will be a little more paper piecing in that one, and then we start putting things together. And clue 4 will be the assembly of the whole thing. If you are working on this, or you're trying to catch up, or whatever, or even in the future, by clue 4, you're going to need something to lay out your blocks on, so that you can take them. so that you can lay them out, take them over to your machine like they are, and stitch them. There are a lot of pieces in, no, not a lot. Anyway, there are quite a few pieces in step 4, and you don't want to lay them out and then pick up a couple of pieces and go over to your machine and try to sew them together and put them back where they went. That's very difficult. So if you haven't seen the video on making the boards, this is what they look like. I showed these in the last clue. They look like this. They're foam boards covered in, they've got batting and an edge on them. If you don't want to make these, that's super fine, whatever. You might try a piece of cardboard with some batting on it. Batting really helps, and then you need a hard surface. So as long as you have a piece of batting with, you know, something under it, a cookie sheet even will work, pizza box, whatever, so that you can lay out your blocks when we get to that point, and then take that over to your machine and sew things together the way they are, not the way you thought they were, which would be really bad. That will really help you in step 4. So that's pre-planning for you guys. Anyway, I am so excited. You have no idea. Just no idea. This has been so much fun for me, and I hope you have enjoyed it too. If you are doing this, following along and making this, please post on the Facebook group. I'm looking forward to seeing your the colors you've chosen and the way it's coming together. It's very exciting for me. So yeah, so I'll see you there. Everything I used in the video is down below in the links. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe to my videos. That would be great. Yeah, so I'll see you next week. Bye.